This past week, I was at South by Southwest, and while there, I was able to see one of my most anticipated films of the year, The Fall Guy, at its world premiere. So let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. Let me know, what is your excitement level for The Fall Guy, and if you're in the future and you've already seen it, what did you think about it? Now, as I said before, I saw the film at its world premiere at South by Southwest, and it was filled with all kinds of pageantry. The movie itself is about stuntmen, and so while they were preparing for the red carpet, they had two motorcycles driving by doing all sorts of stunts and stuff like that. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling showed up in the back of a truck. And then for the film itself, Ryan Gosling, director David Leitch came out, introduced the film afterwards. The whole cast came out, or almost the entire cast came out, with Emily Blunt, Ryan Gosling, Winston Duke, and more, just all right there doing a Q&A. That's about the most fun environment you can have watching a movie like this. It was a packed 1,200 seat theater, and the room was just filled with energy. But was the movie good? Did it live up to my expectations? Let's get started with the good. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this was one of my most anticipated films of the year. It was also one of my wife's most anticipated films of the year. So I went into this movie with my ultimate criteria being, do I think this movie would make for a good date night with my wife? And I'm very happy to say I think that this movie will make for a great date night with my wife. I thought this film was just an absolute blast, a real crowd pleaser. Now, every movie that premieres at South by Southwest in the Paramount has a very lively audience. This movie is designed to play off of that. From beginning to end, it's funny, it's action-packed, it's filled with just charming, charismatic movie stars doing their thing, and so it just plays great in a theater, on a big screen, puts a gigantic grin on your face. Now, at the core of this movie, it's essentially a romance celebrating filmmaking, where it's about a stuntman who's in love with a girl that's making a movie and gets swept up in this wild, crazy adventure that has all sorts of wild action set pieces, but it's a movie directed by a former stuntman whose lead character is a stuntman, so it's filled with all of these practical, wild, crazy stunts. In fact, they broke a world record for most, I guess they call them cannon rolls, with 8.5 cannon rolls in this film. During the interview before the movie started, apparently when they shot this, the guy that does the stunt in the movie is the person in the film that walked up to Ryan Gosling, buckled him in for the stunt that the stuntman was about to go do. The stuntman goes and does the terrible, dangerous stunt that broke a world record. Ryan Gosling gets out of the car, then the stuntman walks up to him in the movie and pats him on the back to congratulate Ryan Gosling for the stunt that he had just done. But there's all of these little things that take place in the movie that are just good old classic stunt work of explosions, cars flipping, all fun, exciting stuff in the context of this guy who's just trying to woo this girl, trying to impress her, make her like him. It just touches on a bunch of different ways to entertain. Talking about 4-quadrant entertainment, you're wanting a movie that is very broad appeal, a film that appeals to both men and women, young and old, and this movie kind of has a little bit of something for everyone. Whatever kind of, if you like action, if you like romance, if you like comedy, it's all in here. As I mentioned before, there is plenty of comedy. It's just from beginning to end, everyone is lively, fun. You're getting Ryan Gosling in this comedy stretch of his career coming off Barbie. And while the character's wildly different, there are a number of Ken similarities of the wounded ego, the comedy side to him. There's enough of that the transitions from Ken over to here, but you then add in all of the big, gigantic action set pieces into it as well. And all while you have the action, the comedy, the romance, it's also a movie about a movie being made, as well as kind of this crime investigation. So there's a whole lot kind of going on, and can appeal to different people in different ways because of that. If you don't know, it's an adaptation of a 40-year-old TV show called The Fall Guy, about a stuntman that goes off on these adventures. But at the center of it, you have this investigation that Ryan Gosling's trying to do that I kind of appreciated, that in a certain sense, it is a little bit episodic of he's trying to solve something that's not this massive stakes thing, but doing something fairly small scale that just kind of keeps leading to these big action set pieces. Kind of appreciated the disconnect between those two things and the way that all of that played out. And the final one to talk about here, as it is about a movie about making a movie, it's a celebration of filmmaking, in particular stuntmen, the people that literally put their lives on the line to make movies. But even beyond that, I mean, it's talking about all of these different roles, and it's a movie about movies that's still entertaining, that doesn't come off pretentious or like Hollywood patting themselves on the back. No, it's a classic crowd pleaser that also happens to be about filmmaking, happens to be a romance, it's action, it's all of these things at the same time. It put a huge grin on my face, and I can't wait until I can watch it again with my wife, and I think she will have a good time with it too. What'd you think of the film?
I mean, it was incredible. The stunts were amazing, and it has the very best use of Taylor Swift's All Too Well and all the other songs as well.
From there, we got some other things to talk about, so let's talk about the mixed aspects of the film. None of these are necessarily good or bad things, these are just things to discuss in relation to the film. First off, there is one really fun cameo in the film that I hope doesn't get spoiled before the film comes out. Second, a lot of people are asking me if the theme song from the old TV show is in the movie in some form or fashion. Simply put, yes. Don't want to go into it more than that, but the song does make an appearance. Third one, people always ask, is there a mid-credit, post-credit scene, anything like that? There's actually like stunt work from the film running throughout most of the credits. And so you want to stick around the credits just to kind of see that behind the scenes. In particular, you're seeing the behind the scenes for a movie that's about the behind the scenes of a fake movie being made. There's just some fun to be had with that. And I could just be blanking a little bit, but I do believe there was a mid-credit scene as well. From there, let's move on to the bad. And when it comes to this film, there wasn't anything that I just thought was overtly wrong with the film. Just some things where maybe it could have been a little bit better. So a lot of the focus is on this investigation, and that's not as interesting as the romance between our two leads. They're both so wonderful. They both ooze so much charisma. They have chemistry. They play off each other really nice. And so you want more of that. But for the plot to move forward, we have to have Ryan off on all these adventures doing things. And so because of that, they're split up. And the murder investigation, by its nature, is very episodic. It's not like this great investigation that everyone's going to be talking about. And we showed up to see these two people together. So, you know, you lose a little bit of something because we're spending so much time on the plottiness of the film. Along those same lines, if you start diving into the logic of the plot line, the investigation, everything kind of taking place with it, where it goes in the third act, you can poke all sorts of holes in this plot. You're like, why didn't the police get involved? Why did this happen? Hey, that's not how that really works. I mean, the movie has the tone, the vibe, the logic of a comedy. So it's pretty easy to forgive a lot of it because it's not trying to present itself as this tightly woven drama. It's about the fun and the vibe. But there's a few times where you go, hey, wait a minute. That doesn't add up. That's not how that works. You can't just do that. Real quick, remember to join me down below in the comment section. Let me know your excitement level for the film. And if you're in the future, what did you think about the movie? Also, I believe by the end of it, I will have seen 14 movies at South by Southwest. I'll be putting out several different individual reviews as well as my video covering all of the films that I saw, ranking all the films that I saw. Be on the lookout for those videos. When you put it all together, I thought that The Fall Guy was just so much fun. It's one that I can't wait to take my wife to go see it. Might not have the most distinct personality, but but it makes up for it with thrilling action, a nice romance, plenty of laughs that landed, and movie stars that you just love to see on screen in these types of roles. Overall, I'll give it an A- on the entertainment scale, an 8.5 out of 10, and go see this movie in the theater. It is such a big crowd pleaser, and it's got a little bit of something for everyone. I had a ton of fun with this movie. Be sure to check out my other coverage of South by Southwest movies and keep talking movies and TV to